In my last video, I talked to you about how I spent thousands of dollars on supplements. Organ capsules, bone marrow, bone matrix, the whole aisle. All of it was a waste. But one thing did survive. I take it every single day, and it's actually the cheapest thing in the supplement industry, coming in at just 15 cents per serving. I'm Mac, I'm a registered nurse, and today we're gonna look into creatine. I wanna show you how I evaluate this stuff, because by the end of this video, the goal isn't that you just trust me on creatine. It's that you're able to do this for yourself. For anything. Here's how every video on this channel works. Any claim about any supplement gets divided into 3 buckets. Bucket 1, what the evidence actually supports. We're talking about multiple good trials, consistent results. We're confident. Bucket 2, plausible but unproven. There's a mechanism, maybe some early data. It might pan out, but we don't know yet. Anyone telling you we do is either lying or hasn't read anything. And bucket 3, personal preference. What I do, what I like, what works for me. Not evidence, just me. The supplement industry makes its money blurring those 3 buckets together, and it's my job to keep them apart. Creatine's interesting because it does land in all 3 buckets. Let's get into it. Quick mechanism coverage, and then we'll dive into the evidence. Your body already makes creatine, and you get it from meat and fish. It gets stored in your body as something called phosphocreatine, and its job is to rapidly generate energy, specifically ATP, during short or hard efforts. Think a heavy set, a sprint, those last 2 reps when you're really putting in work. Creatine is the system that refills the tank between those efforts. Supplementing just tops up those stores more than your diet likely would. And here's where the evidence is genuinely strong. Creatine monohydrate is one of the most studied supplements in existence. Decades of randomized control trials and meta-analyses pooling dozens of them. The consistent finding? More strength, more high-intensity performance, and more lean mass when combined with resistance training. That last part matters, and it's where people get things wrong. Creatine isn't a fat burner, and it isn't magic. The effects show up with training. It amplifies work you're already doing. It doesn't do the work for you. The safety question, because it's the one that everybody asks. Trials have safely used doses of 3 to 5 grams daily for 18 months. The whole creatine wrecks your kidneys idea is not supported at all in healthy people. That fear largely comes from creatine raising a lab value called creatinine that we use to estimate your kidney function. As a result, your blood work might look a little bit off despite your kidneys functioning perfectly fine. All said, it's a measurement artifact, not indicative of any real damage. One little caveat, if you do have existing kidney damage, I certainly recommend speaking with your doctor about creatine and seeing whether it's appropriate for you or not. And I say that not as me needing to cover myself or anything like that, but it's a very real exception if you're going to be supplementing. This next section is going to save you a little bit of money, so pay attention. Buy creatine monohydrate. I'm going to put that somewhere here on the screen. That is it. It's the form that's been studied to death. The supplement industry sells you creatine HCl, buffered creatine, liquid creatine, advanced creatine, creatine blends with proprietary names, all of them at a markup and none of them showing any meaningful advantage over regular creatine monohydrate. You're paying extra for a form with less evidence behind it. 3 to 5 grams daily of monohydrate, and that is about it. Another thing, you don't need a loading phase. The old advice used to be about 20 grams daily for about a week. That does work by saturating your muscles faster, but 5 grams daily will get you to the same spot in about 3 to 4 weeks, without the GI stress that loading gives a lot of people. If you're not in a rush, just skip it. As well, timing doesn't really matter much. Consistency is rewarded a lot more than trying to nail the same time every single day. Take it whenever you'll remember it. 15 cents a serving. A single tub can last you months. It is genuinely the best value in any supplement aisle. And the industry hates that. That's why they keep trying to sell you all these fancier versions. Now the part that everybody is talking about in 2026. Creatine for your brain. Your brain uses creatine too. It's the same energy system, just different tissue. This means that the mechanism is real and plausible. And research has started to move a little bit. Here's what the evidence actually says though, and I want to be precise because the market tends to shift things in favor of selling things. A recent meta-analysis found that creatine improves memory, and the certainty of that evidence was rated as moderate, which in research terminology means reasonably confident. That's a real finding. But that same analysis found that it did not significantly improve overall cognitive function, executive function, or attention. And the evidence for things like processing speed was rated low certainty. So the honest version kind of looks like memory moderate. Everything else your favorite podcast is claiming, focus, mental clarity, brain fog, executive function, it just isn't there. The effects also appear to be stronger in people who were already deficient to begin with. Sleep-deprived people, vegetarians, older people, which makes sense. And that ultimately means that a well-fed omnivore benefits very little. And now the mood and depression areas, which I have to be direct because it's my field of work, you're starting to see creatine marketed for depression. The evidence so far is a meta-analysis of pretty low quality studies that show slight improvement, so small I don't know that we can call it clinically significant. And two major psychiatric bodies, the World Federation of Societies of Biological Psychiatry and the Canadian Network for Mood and Anxiety Treatments, currently recommend against using creatine for depression until there's better, more high quality data available. I work in mental health and I can tell you definitively, if you are struggling with depression or you find yourself depressed, creatine is not going to help you with it. It's not the answer. Anyone selling it to you as an answer is either uninformed or dishonest, but I guess it doesn't really matter what they are. It's just wrong. Here's my preference, and I'm labeling it as what it is. I take 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every day. I've taken it consistently for years now. Do I feel sharper on it? Sometimes. I think so. Is that the evidence talking, or is that me cashing out on multiple tubs and hoping that it works? I personally can't tell you, and I don't think anybody else who has tried it can. What I can tell you is that the strength and training evidence is more than solid. And that's really the difference between taking a supplement because the data backs you up versus your favorite influencer making you feel like you're behind by not taking something. Let's look at what just happened. One supplement, 3 completely different realms to look at. Strength of performance, strong. Memory, moderate, real, but narrower than you've been told. Mood, focus, clarity, none of it's there yet. And in the case of depression, actively cautioned against. The supplement industry's entire business model is taking the first point and trying to sell you on the other 2. Creatine is proven. Proven for what? That's the question. That's the whole game. A claim isn't outright true or false. It's true for a specific outcome at a specific dose in a specific population. And the moment someone drops those qualifiers, they're selling. You don't need a nursing degree to do this. You only need to ask, proven for what, in who, how well, and compared to what. So, creatine monohydrate, 3 to 5 grams daily, 15 cents a day, and it's genuinely one of the very few supplements that earns its place on any stack. That's not hype. That's just evidence. And I tell you if it was any different. I've got a whole video about the thousands I burned finding that out. One last thing, this is strictly educational and it's not to be taken as medical advice. If you have any conditions or if you're just curious, make sure you speak with your doctor or pharmacist or practitioner about starting anything that I talk about in my videos. Next time we'll use the same method to look at a different substance. Thanks for watching.